Hello, you're welcome. In my last video, we saw a disaster that was caused by tenant upgrade who tried to install a solar panel on the roof, which led to the collapse of the POP ceiling. The question was who should be responsible for the repairs and who is to blame. But the better question for landlords is this: how do you prevent this from happening? Today, I am giving you tips. I'm giving you a simple format on how to prevent your property from destruction and how to protect it and protect your interests and your assets. Point number one, the ironclad tenancy agreement. All right, there is no tenancy that should exist without the tenancy agreement, whether verbal or in writing. But I always encourage written because it's something that you can't forget and you can always refer to in the near future. Your tenancy agreement should contain a no alteration clause and changes without prior consent. They can't do any alterations, they can't do any major improvement or work on that property without prior notification and then without consent from the owner. This is your first line of defense and it's your legal foundation. So it protects your interests from day one by setting those boundaries. So everybody knows what is expected of them. You as a landlord know what you're expecting from the tenant, and the tenant already knows his limits and his rights and knows not to cross that boundary. Point number two, you need a written alteration agreement. What does this entail? Simply put, what if a tenant wants to make an improvement of some sort and then they reach out to you and you have agreed to grant them consent? What do you do with that regard? Give them that consent, but it has to be in writing, not via a phone call. Just like you did for the tenancy agreement, you also have to do this as well. Three things basically that must be captured in this alteration agreement. Number one, who is going to carry out the repairs if there's any damages as a result of that improvement? Is it going to be the tenant handling some, then the landlord handling some? Or is it going to be all on the tenant because they are the ones who are doing the improvement? Or is it going to be a split burden? The second thing is all repairs should be carried out by licensed professionals. The term license is relative depending on where you're watching me from. So wherever you are, the most important thing is you are getting qualified and skilled labor to handle those repairs, not by quacks. The third thing is the exact scope of work. You install the panel on the roof and now the POP is damaged. The exact scope of the work is fix whatever you need to fix from the roof to that POP, and the effect of probably leakage on the floors or on the paint. That scope must be mapped out in that agreement. This is what separates a professional landlord from a novice or a beginner. Number 3 point is conduct regular inspections. If you're a landlord that is too busy, then designate a caretaker or send in your property manager, facility manager, or your agent. But it has to be a regular maintenance or routine check. In this part of the world, standard is every 6 months to 1 year. Then you visit the property, and when you visit the property, you are not just inspecting for damages. You are looking for or trying to identify repairs or trying to identify improvements or things that were not there before. Some strange wiring, holes popping up somewhere, because sometimes those improvements are against the tenancy agreement. There was a time in my estate or where I stay where there was power outage for a while, and in trying to figure out the issues, all the electrical authorities couldn't get or discover the fault, but we had to spend some days without power, and it was becoming very frustrating. The men in the community decided to start investigating, going from place to place and trying to check, and we got to a particular tenant's house and discovered that the tenant was the reason for the blackout. How so? He was trying to get from our own feeder and get from a different estate's feeder, and he ran two connections, and that process caused a surge in power, and that blew up the fuse in the transformer. Something like that is as a result of a check. Now, many landlords are out there and they just rent out a property to tenants and they just allow it. You should conduct regular maintenance inspection. That way, you'll be able to find out what is going on. This also makes the tenant accountable. Having said this, let's do a quick recap. The first one is have an ironclad tenancy agreement. Never rent out your property without an ironclad or without a tenancy agreement. It must be in writing. Don't just give it verbally. The second point is you should have a written alteration agreement, okay, in case you are granting consent. So you've decided, yes, your agreement says no alteration must be carried out without your consent as landlord. And now the tenant has reached out to you and you've decided you want to grant them that consent, then you must have that written alteration agreement. Okay. And number three, conduct routine periodic maintenance inspection or routine inspections on your property. These three tips can save your investment and your assets from total breakdown. These steps I'm giving aren't just about being a difficult landlord or making you become one. They're just about being smart and a professional landlord who is taking matters into their hands and who wants to protect their investments. What other tips do you have for fellow landlords? Share your best advice in comments below. Thank you and see you soon.